Hello and welcome back to the second episode of the chapter Death of a Naturalist. Now, in our previous video, we had seen how the narrator of the poem, a child with a lot of interests, explores the flax dams and tries to collect frog spawn from there. His world is filled with exploration. He acts like a naturalist who explores and tries to contain the environment inside his small jam pot. But he is filled with curiosity, and his heart continues to explore and know about these creatures with whom we find him to be fascinated in the first stanza. But something changes in the second stanza. Quite suddenly. What happens? Let's find out. The second stanza is markedly shorter than the first one, and the second stanza begins with the word then. Now, there is a seismic shift in the speaker's perception here. Suddenly, everything alters. The innocent joy and interest in the natural life cycle suddenly transforms into anxiety and fear. Then, this word is crucial and it marks a specific life-altering change. Then one hot day when fields were rank with cow dung in the grass. So he says, then one day something happened. When the fields were rank means was filled, was almost overflowing with cow dung in the grass, the angry frogs invaded the flax dam. The angry frogs invaded. Look at the imagery that the child is now presenting. Invaded it is entering by force, and the frogs do that. I ducked through hedges. So it is almost a militaristic imagery, as if there is a war going on, as if the child is trying to save himself from getting hit. So he ducked, that is, lowered his head through hedges, through shrubs, to a coarse croaking that I had not heard before. And instead of the noise that he is familiar with, he hears something unfamiliar, a coarse, a rough croaking. The air was thick with a bass chorus, and the sound of the frog, the full-grown frog, has been compared to a bass chorus. What is a bass chorus? Bass is the low-pitched sound, and it is ominous. It is an ominous noise. It is almost resembling a funeral dirge. It is a warning. Right down the dam, gross-bellied frogs were cocked on sods, and these frogs have been presented as a sort of a weapon that are ready to charge itself, to attack whoever tries to reach out, tries to get hold of them. So he compares them, were cocked on swords. Cocked means they were ready to fire, as if the frogs were armed and were ready to fire. On swords means blocks of earth. It brings to us the image of a soldier who has his aim ready behind the mound of earth when there is a war. So it is a similar imagery that the poet presents. Their loose necks pulsed like snails. Pulsed like snails, it is a simile. So the frogs' necks are so long that it is almost looking like that of snails. Some hopped and some hopped forward. So some of the frogs hopped, and the narrator or the speaker of the poem thought that it was done deliberately to threaten him, and the slap and plop were obscene threats. Now slap and plop are onomatic words. These express sounds, these are sound words. Slap is the sound that is created when something falls flat on a wet surface, and plop is a kind of sound when a dense object falls into water. So these sounds are created when the frog hops in the flax dam, and the narrator, the speaker, who is a young boy, he feels that it has been deliberately done to threaten him. Some sat poised like mud grenades. Now, this is an interesting imagery where again this entire warlike image has been created deliberately to show the sudden fear, anxiety and repulsion towards the flax dams and the frogs, which just a few lines ago was a cherished activity. So he feels that the frogs are seated there in the mud, ready like the mud grenades It is like the weapons which are ready to unleash its vengeance upon the young speaker. Their blunt heads farting, and their blunt heads were making noises that were similar to farting. Again, an expression that is repulsive. So I sickened, I turned and ran. And he was so disgusted and he felt such a strong sense of revulsion that he ran away from the place. The great slime kings were gathered there for vengeance, and I knew that if I dipped my hand, the spawn would clutch it. So these frogs are no longer the affectionate frog spawns that the speaker used to collect. These are now full-grown frogs, slime kings, which are ready to get hold of him the moment he dips his hand. He feels that he will be clutched or tightly gripped by these frogs. So he runs away from the place. Now, what evokes this change? What are the key points that we uncover after reading this particular text? We will discuss all of that, and we will know more about the dominant themes that we find in the poem in our next video. We will also discuss why this poem has been often described as a poem about coming of age. Stay tuned for more such interesting discussions on literary topics. Meanwhile, if you like my work, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. I'll meet you all again in the next video. Thank you for watching.